here with Jon Braver, creator of Delusion. For me, one of the premier attractions during Halloween season in LA. Uh, I have a blast every time I go. I tell all my friends about it. It's incredible. The theatrics, the actors, the effects, everything about it, man. It blows my mind every year. And you tend to keep up in the ante every year, which is incredible. For people that aren't familiar with Delusion, do you want to give them a little rundown of what it's about?
I mean, you said it all right there. We can just end it there. Just put the ticket. Just buy tickets now.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, Junior. See you later.
So, sticker on the bottom. This is the eighth season, right?
Well, it's actually the ninth, but
Okay.
we don't talk too much about 2011 for some reason. I don't know why I don't really. It's like it was a pilot program about 10 nights we did, 11 nights, and it was just to see how this whole thing went, and then we jumped into like sort of a more professional level on 2012 show. So
Yeah.
yeah, we could say nine, but eight on the higher level.
Okay.
But yeah, like you were asking, what's this about? I mean, it's it's a dream come true. It's always been a dream come true. I'm a fan of this kind of stuff, and I don't think there's really anything like it. I've kind of traveled
Yeah.
around the world and tried to experience stuff like this. And it's basically taking. I work in film and TV, and taking that kind of world and bringing it into the live space and making people feel as if they're inside of
Yeah.
a psychologically disturbing horror, supernatural, fantastical kind of adventure. And that's really what it's all about, is like a really fun, creepy adventure, and not a haunted house, and not really just about scaring people. It's more rich with narrative, really great actors and stunt people. And there's like a professional score. So, you know, you're hearing it, you're feeling it. The amount of work we put into with sound design, my friend Victor Matthew, he's the sound designer for it. It's I don't know, man. It's every time I think about it, the amount of moving parts to this thing is insane. It's like we're building a movie, a live movie.
That's
It's cool.
insane. This year's theme is Nightmares and Nocturnes, right?
The other way around.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Nocturnes and Nightmares. Yeah,
Nocturnes and Nightmares. I'm so sorry. It's
that's
been
okay.
a
Oh,
um,
good.
so, and this year with I know the stories change every year, and I was actually reading that this all the stories from past years are actually leading up to this year, right? Is there the main character?
Right. There's been a different ideas that have been floating around since last year's show, and then I decided, since this is our last year in this mansion over here in Pomona, kind of wanted to wrap it up in a cool, different kind of way. So as I was thinking about ideas, I came up with this idea that these shows are already kind of difficult to write, so they were kind of driving me nuts. Not kind of, they were just driving me crazy. So I thought, well, it'd be kind of cool to have um, this overarching narrative that an author has created the entire Delusion series, and the stories have come to life. And so it's super meta, but but it also retains that same Delusion feel, but on another stranger kind of level to it. But yeah, there are some fan favorite characters coming back. It's an all new show, but
Yeah.
it's like taking characters and thrust, like the Marvel universe. You'll take a character and thrust it into a new sequence or a new scene with different characters, and then see how that plays out. But there's a series of short stories, but they're all connected with this concept of finding this missing author of the series.
Yeah. And so there's little Easter eggs peppered around from past years and stuff. That's really awesome. And I noticed that this year you guys have a couple of new things. You have a spectral soiree and a behind the veil VIP experience.
Yeah, yeah. Again, like our last year here, we want to go out big. So what we're doing in this mansion here in the front mansion is that spectral soiree, which is um, eventually might just become like its separate ticketed event because there's so much going on. We have like four different, very intriguing characters that are floating around the mansion.
Okay.
One is Marion from this show called Lies Within, who's this looming puppet master who controls the Marion's Chamber full bar. And then we have the Dark Arts Theater, where we're going to have magician one night, burlesque dancer one night, singer one night.
Wow.
And then up in the attic, we have something called the Spectre. So there's something haunting the attic, and you'll be able to raise the dead and connect with the dead in a way that I could tell you, like, it's a bit of a trope, and to say, and it's not hyperbole, but I've never seen this done before, what we're doing up in the attic. So make sure, you tell your friends to find time to get to the attic. And then we have this little doll named Manny Manners, who's made an appearance throughout the last couple seasons, and he's a possessed doll that you can talk to and connect with and become friends with, maybe go get a drink with. And then the grand host of the event, Esther Phillips, is there as well too. So there's, between like the merch, the garden bar, the full bar, the dark arts theater, the specter in the attic, just the overall energy of this mansion. It's like that by itself is a fun evening. And
That's its
top
own
it off with like, what's that?
That's like its own attraction right there.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. The spectral floor. Yeah. And then VIP that you were saying about the behind the veil. Now you can go in the back house where the narrative portion of the evening plays out, and you have your own private bar there, and you can play a small part in this one scene as kind of the living dead and rising from the dead. So we're trying to keep it really fun and simple, but you'll be able to be a part of the show. So that whole idea of like playing your part as our tagline is like taking it one step further and really trusting the audience, which could completely screw me, but we'll give it a shot.
Hey man, I'm excited. I have to ask you, have you had the same team through all these years, like working with you as far as actors? You're saying the sound, has it always just been the same tight group that you had?
For the first, I think like 5 or 6 years, I mean, we've had people come in and out from time to time. I had a production designer for a while, and then he works over at UCLA, so that wasn't working. The timing didn't work out there. It's tough because it's a seasonal event,
Yeah.
and so people, it's a gig kind of thing. Are you available? Who knows if somebody's going to be available? But for the most part, the last 3 years, we've had much of the same cast, and crew is probably like 50-50 on who's available. The fact that it's been in Pomona has been a bit of a challenge to get people, who live out there. But our team now is probably the strongest it's ever been, between our stage manager and production manager, Sati, and my producer, Dave. And the actors are unbelievable. It's this incredible family. But we've been able to carry over a decent portion of people throughout the years. But again, it's the whole seasonal aspect makes it tough. See, you're rolling the dice. Who's available? Who can
Yeah.
come?
Yeah. With it being so successful here in Los Angeles, have you thought about traveling it, maybe taking it to the East Coast, somewhere where I know there's a big haunt community in New York, in the Midwest,
I mean, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Chicago. I'd
Yeah.
love to do something there. The thing is, honestly, I'd like to do that. And I think in terms of scaling Delusion brand, that needs to also be looked at in the film and television department and book, other medium as well. These shows are so big and site specific, and they're difficult beasts. Like, people love the intimacy of it, right? It's 10 people every 10 minutes, and so you feel like you're going through the story on your own. So to have intimacy, there's a consequence to it. So we can't have that many people per night. We can have about 300 people go through the narrative portion instead of like the 3,000 to 6,000 people.
Yeah.
So even with it's a high ticket price, low capacity event, but the economics still are difficult to make work. So we continually try to make it so that it becomes a more sustainable thing, and not just this cult fan favorite thing that I love and that a lot of people love. But the economics have to work a little bit better for us to move to other cities. That's like the dark truth of it. I'd like to. I mean, if to be honest, it's like, yeah, you could say, all right, there's a cool old church in Chicago, and let's do something there. But there's so much that goes into it. For me, I can't just use the space. We have to create the whole world around it. So there's a lot to it. But we'll see. I'd like to go back to Chicago. I'd love to do something in upstate New York, something with a real fall atmosphere,
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Delusion, September 21st to November 12th. I love the aspect that you guys are going into November. because man, a couple of years back, it would sell out. October would be over, and I'd have friends that would be like, "So is there any more?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"That was it, right?" So I love that you guys are going into November. I have friends that already bought tickets for November, so kudos on that. And I'm excited, man.
Yes.
I'm excited to show up. I think I'm going next weekend, and
Oh, you're going
yeah, man.
opening weekend.
Yes.
Opening weekend. That's awesome. Yeah, I
So,
would push people for November too, because I love November because I mean October is awesome, but like November's got a cool vibe too because it's colder. It's
oh,
physically
yeah.
colder, and there's that chill that settles in, and there's a different energy there, and so I would try to push people to go in November for sure.